Good evening, everybody. Hello there, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to tonight's live. If it's your first time here, we do talk all things true crime, so if that's something that you're interested in, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to be alerted to new content because we go live daily, and do pre-recorded videos. We do both. Oh, I saw Teresa! Teresa! Oh, yay, she's back. I wrote you an email yesterday. I don't know if you even got it. I don't even know if you checked your email, but I was so worried. Whew. My heart is fluttering, and it's a good flutter. You had me worried. Oh my lordy. Had me worried. Now I'm shaking like a leaf. Because I've been worried about you. I knew that you were on your cruise, and I'm like, she's probably just cruising. But I'm like, but a cruise usually ends like after a few days, I thought. And I'm like, has anyone seen Teresa? Summer even reached out to me. She's like, have you talked to her, Teresa? And I was like, I literally just emailed her. So I'm so glad. I'm so glad you're here. I hope that your vacation went well. And you're back just in time. Just in time for the judicial system to start working. Let me put these guys up here. It's gonna get a picture, but I'll just do this instead maybe. That'll be good for now. If you guys wouldn't mind, like I said, hit the like button. It'll send us out to the algorithm. We have 49 people in here right now. I think we can get the likes up. That'd be really great. 52 people now, even better. I really appreciate you guys all being here. I know that there are a ton of different creators covering the Idaho 4, and a lot of the creators that cover it in the mornings are now covering it at in the evening time. So, you know, if you watch more than one creator, it's kind of like pick and choose, you know. So, just want to let you know that I'm very grateful that you guys are here and that you chose us as the chat, and you chose me as the creator to hear my perspective over this case. I really appreciate that. And I see a lot of you guys are all green in the chat. Look at that. I wish we could buy Jameson a little membership. I would too. What's up? Curtis said. That's a big what's up. Like the announcement. I'm going back in the chat because I'm like, I saw Summer said Teresa, thank God. Yeah, we were just so worried about you. Hey, Frenchie. Hey, guys. Hey, Eddie. Thank you for the membership, Eddie. I saw that you gifted that. Amanda's in here. Everyone's in here. Scorpolina, she got that. She's got the membership. And that was like awesome because I think you guys were the first two in the chat. Let me go up and look. I think you guys were. You were. That's a good way. Now, that is awesome. I love that you got that membership because like you and Eddie were like the first two people in the chat today. I don't know, maybe if you're first in the chat, you'll be gifted a membership. Who knows? We do gift them a lot around here, and so make sure that you have your allowed gifts on because I feel gifty. Oh, thanks, Steve. I love you guys too. So let's see. I was going to tell you guys something today. Oh, I was going to tell you this was a little funny story before we get started. Here, let me remove the banner thing and I'll tell you about my if I can learn how to work a camera. I couldn't figure out the button to work the camera. So I'll tell you a little funny story before we get started into tonight's stuff, because I've been talking about my dogs here lately. Mia, my gray dog, I had a doctor's appointment today online. Does anybody work from home? Do any of you guys work from home? Because I don't know how. I want to know how you do it if you have an animal. Because I had a doctor's appointment today, and for a solid hour, I was supposed to be going into my depths of my soul, you know, like into my spot, not like I mean I don't want to say like out of my happy place, but you know, like because I was doing counseling, my dog busted open my door 3 times and it latches closed. I don't know how she was getting it open. So I stuck a like a door stopper, like, you know, like that keeps the door open. I shoved it in behind it and she still managed to get in twice. I don't know how she did it. So for an hour today, I had to sit there with my hand on her head. And every time I moved my hand, she cried. So I just didn't know if you guys worked with your animals, how you guys would do that. Because my lordy, it would be horrible. Like, this is like, I'm, if she busts in here, it's going to be crazy. You're going to see me. You're going to see me tonight because I'm going to be like, just get in the chair. Just get in the chair, lady. That's what I'll tell her. She can have her chair tonight. She's cool when she's in her chair. But yeah, she opened the door. And like, this lady is so nice, my new counselor lady. And I'm just like, I'm sorry. This never happens. Like, So yeah, I passes Tanya's cinder block for the door. I know. She would get through it. She's like, I keep thinking she's back there now because I said that, but she's huge, and you guys have seen her before. She takes up the whole chair, but I was like, I'm just going to tell everybody this tonight because this was a funny little story. Because she literally, and then she kept going like back and forth, and you could hear her claws, and I was just like clenching. So when I'm supposed to be like meditating, I'm like tensed up. I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, we're doing great. I'm like over here petting the dog. She probably thought I was nuts. So, hey there, Mandy. That's when they all go wrong. She like, I don't know. She's special breed. She's a special girl. I don't know if it's because the Amish bred her, but like she is, I don't know. She's something. Cinder blocks are. You can use them for working out. Who was that said that? There was a kid. I'll never remember it, but it was a kid that killed his girlfriend. And it might have been, I can't think of the name of the kid, but he used cinder blocks or something. I think he like threw her in the water, used cinder blocks to like weigh her down. And they ended up like tracing the cinder blocks, like some of them, like because they found her, back to his house. But he said the ones that he had were, he was using those to make workout equipment. I don't know if you guys will remember that, but I can't think of the kid's name, but I think it was pretty recent. Oh, I bet that would be cute using cinder blocks. Cinder blocks are cute. I mean, they could be cute. My dad used to build houses though, so I'm used to seeing stuff from the ground up with cinder blocks and stuff being worked. You have cats, doorstops work for them. Not when you got like an 80, 90 pound Weimaraner and she wants her mama. Then she tried to get in the chair with me. And I'm like, oh my Lord. It was a mess, but I was like, that's my life, in a nutshell. Oh my gosh. Witchy, that's so funny. She said her therapist has her dogs in her office and my ferrets run around during our telehealth sessions. I should just leave the door open. It's not that bad. I don't think it would echo or anything, but just when they would want something, that's when it would be click, 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 click. And I can't stand that noise. It drives me nuts. I feel for you guys. It wasn't Aiden, no, but it was someone close to like his age. I can't remember the kid's name. So there's a lot of stuff that's been coming out on Idaho 4 today too. So that's what we'll be talking about tonight. There's my little trigger warning for Nightbot. He comes through. I love that. I think I said everything I needed to say. Yep, like the video if you guys wouldn't mind. It really does help it send it out to the algorithm. I know you guys hear that on every channel from every creator. Maybe I'll get a t-shirt that says that. And then I'll just go like, and you can read it or something, so you don't hear me bitching up a storm about likes and comments. No, just kidding. Glowbug, you know what? I don't think I did. Let me see. Because I was looking at emails today, unless I was on the wrong email. No. Okay. I'll look for it though, Glowbug. Yeah, I don't see it. I got one from Nancy, I see, and then one from Scorpelina. I saw the flowers. I was like, I was like, Scorpelina's still in the chat, right? Yeah, those are pretty flowers. I was like, dang. Man, you can put my stuff to shame. I'm going to have to show you my plant. Well, play it back there. He's going. He's dying, I think. Yeah, try sending it again and let me know. It might have just been like a mess up or something on my behalf because I didn't see it. And I hit all of my goals today, so I guess we're ready to get into this live now. Standing, moving, exercise, we're ready to go. No reason for me not to get on with the case. So they came out with some new documents. I'll go over the new documents first, and then we will go over, Kaylee's dad came out and spoke like in an interview on Court TV, and then apparently Bryan Kohberger's parents have been subpoenaed to testify before a Pennsylvania grand jury. His mom, I think, already testified last Thursday, and then his father's set to testify. So I have an article from CNN, and then I have a video for that as well. And then also, Law and Crime just came out with a new video. It just is, it says death penalty expert weighs in on the Bryan Kohberger case. So I figured we could just check it out if it looked good. So let me grab my drink. Hi, Heidi. Whose trial? Oh, I'm so glad we got our Teresa back. Oh, I was gonna watch something about that. I was meant to watch something about that today, Teresa, and I forgot. That's another case. That's another just horrific case. Okay, hey to everybody in chat. I really appreciate you guys being here. If you guys don't mind smashing that like button. If you want to subscribe to the channel, we'd love to have you. We do true crime daily. We cover all cases. We've been covering a lot of Idaho 4 as of right now, but we do cover other cases as well. We're going to go back to Madeline tomorrow, I believe, or Oklahoma tomorrow, and then Madeline, then Idaho. I have something really good set up for this weekend as well for Idaho 4. So don't forget to subscribe and then hit the bell icon. Okay, so we're basically all the way down here. This is starting to look like Lori Vallow's rap sheet, or her like record, you know, court record. I was like, man, we got to go down and down and down. So we got all the way up to the 19th. These are all really short, which is good. It's not like a whole lot of reading for us, but I wanted to go ahead and go through these with you guys. That way you're up to speed with what's going on. If you have never seen this page before, it is the State of Idaho Judicial Branches page, and it covers all of Bryan Kohberger's, you know, all of his court records, all of his paperwork since he's been into the State of Idaho system. Are you guys having a problem with the chat? Let me know if you are, because I forgot to actually turn off my computer and my iPad. I was going to do that earlier. Yeah, the chat got a little crazy last night. So if your chat for some reason, here, I'll turn my camera back on. If for some reason you're chatting in the chat and like it just stops or something, or, you know, it doesn't load, try to just like go out and then come back into the live. It may be something with StreamYard or YouTube is updating, but it did something funky last night. And I was like, it was really weird. I think that me and Summer were trying to show comments at the same time, and we like fudged up the system. We like made it freeze. So I didn't want people to think we were lying or doing anything like that, you know. That's why I was like, let me turn my camera back on here. Because, you know, like, well, because a lot of people blame YouTube for things, you know. And I'm like, YouTube doesn't do that. I'm like, I'm on you. I'm a YouTube creator. I'm like, that doesn't happen. But, you know. But no, I think that's what we did. I think we really, like, just clicked at the same time and glitched the system. Okay, here, actually, so the first one we're going to go over is just the court minutes. This is from 5/22/2023. Let me exit out of that so I can see where I'm at. And this is going to be from the hearing from the other day, the State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. The judge is Judge John Judge. Has everyone's seen a picture of him, I think, by now. If you haven't, that's him there. Judge. We'll probably call him like Judge J or something. I don't know. Because that's going to get me, I already know I'll be tongue-tied before the end of it. And then his name has to be John So that's a lot of J's. But it just says here that it shows the attorneys for the state and then Ann Taylor for Bryan Kohberger. And it just says hearing start time 9:09 a.m. And it says this being the time set pursuant to order of the court for the district court arraignment. In this case, court noted the presence of counsel and defendant appearing in person in Latah County District Courtroom number 3. Court noted defendant is in Latah County custody. Court identified counsel for both the state and the defendant. So they were late. At 9:10, court introduced itself to all parties, both present in the courtroom and on Zoom. Can you guys read this? Let me zoom that in for you guys. Sorry. That's probably a lot better. So I think it's a lot better probably for all of us, actually. Just did myself a favor, y'all. At 9:10, court informed defendant of his rights as a defendant in a felony criminal case and of the procedures to be followed. At 9:12, in response to inquiry from the court, defendant stated he understood his rights and did not need them explained in any further detail. At 9:12, in response to inquiry from the court, defendant stated he had not received a copy of the indictment, further stating his name, date of birth, and last 4 digits of his social security number. I'm sorry, that he stated that he had received. I'm sorry, I said hadn't received, but that he had received a copy. And it says, and the last 4 digits of his social security number were correct as listed. At 9:13, the court informed the defendant of the felony charge against him in count 1, burglary in the violation of Idaho code, and it gives the code, and the maximum penalty that offense carries upon conviction up to 10 years in the state penitentiary with the mandatory minimum of 1 year imprisonment, a $50,000 fine, or both, and the defendant may be required to pay restitution for any economic loss. Now, with that being said, I have a question for you guys, the economic loss part. If he's convicted, could they sue him? Like, could they put the house in there? Like, could they fine him for that? You know what I mean? Like, it says restitution for any economic loss. Like, would that be considered that? Or is it considered more like employment loss? Not that I trust the state's system for victims' compensation by any means, but I was just wondering if they could put that in there, because they're going to tear the house down. It's technically, if he's convicted, because he's not convicted, so we don't know if he's did this yet, but I don't know. It just is. I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. I don't know. Let me know. I didn't know if they could put that in there, the house in there, as like a loss. At 9:13, court informed the defendant of the felony charge against him in count 1, 3, 4, and 5, murder in the first degree, in violation of Idaho code, and then it gives the codes, of the maximum penalty of each offense carries upon conviction of up life imprisonment in the state penitentiary or the death penalty, a $50,000 fine. He may be required to pay restitution for any economic loss, and he may be required to pay a $5,000 civil penalty to the victim's family. I feel like that $5,000 civil penalty, like, if I was the victim's family member, I would say take that $5,000 and shove it up your ass. I'm sorry, no offense, but like, literally, that's like a slap in the face to me. Like, here's $5,000 for civil penalty I don't know. And I'm not saying that because they have the Gonzalez's and the Mogans went and they went and did I think they're trying to like sue, or they're going to sue if needed. And I'm not just saying that because of that. I'm just thinking out loudly. But at 9:16, the court noted the indictment was signed on May 16th, 2023 by the presiding grand juror. 9:18, in response to the inquiry from the court, defendant stated he understood all 5 charges, potential penalties for each charge, and his rights. At 9:19, in response to inquiry from the court, Ms. Taylor stated defendant will stand silent at this time. Court entered not guilty pleas for each charge. At 9:19, court informed all parties the state had 60 days to file notice of whether they intend to pursue the death penalty, and defendant has a constitutional right to a speedy trial. I have a question for you guys. I have all these questions now that you guys are here. So BTK, I told you on and I believe it was the last Idaho 4 Live, he pled silent also. Like, he stood silent. Does anybody know if his lawyer talked for him or if he actually stood up and he said, I'm standing silent? You're so right. You're right, Steve. Yeah. That 5,000, they shouldn't even put that on there. I mean, $50,000 fine. He's gonna be like, he's gonna be in jail for the rest of his life. You know what I mean? Like, what's that anyway? But seriously, but the 5,000 for civil penalty, coming from a person that was considered a victim of a crime, and I didn't get anything from the state. I don't trust this. I just don't like the state when they put things like that and stuff. I just don't like it. Where were we at? Oh yeah, I was waiting to see if you guys were answering. Yeah, let me know if you know if he stood or if he didn't. That is a Teresa question. Do you know that? Do you know that answer, Teresa? If BK, when he stood silent for his arraignment, did he actually stand up and say, "I stand silent," or did he allow his lawyer to do that for him, like Bryan Kohberger did? Because I'm really curious. Like, I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it's weird that he can respond, yes, I understand, no, yes, I understand, yes, I understand, those things. But all of a sudden, when it was time to say, are you guilty or are you not guilty, he was like mute all of a sudden. Like, he lost his voice. I mean, it just isn't good. It's not a good sign for him, because you think that he'd want to stand up in his own defense and be like, plead not guilty. But then again, I mean, everyone's different. Oh, he just answered yes, but he did answer. Yeah, Kohberger didn't say anything. Other than the stuff that he was, the questions he's asked. And so at 9:19, court informed all parties the state had 60 days to file. Oh yeah, that's right, I read that. But notice of whether they intend to pursue the death penalty, and defendant has a constitutional right to a speedy trial. At 9:19, Ms. Taylor moved to set this case for jury trial towards the end of the speedy trial deadline. Ms. Taylor noted speedy trial runs on approximately November 22nd, 2023. Ms. Taylor suggested court set an October trial date, further stating it will take at least 4 weeks, possibly 6 weeks, to try the case. At 9:21, Mr. Thompson agreed to an October trial date. This is just giving us like the play-by-play. But at 9:21, Mr. Thompson agreed to an October trial date. At 9:22, there being no objection, court set a trial date for, wow, let me try that again. Court set a jury trial to commence on October 2nd, 2023 for 6 weeks. At 9:22, in response to inquiry from court, neither counsel had any further matters to address at this time. 9:23, court clarified the preliminary hearing set for June 26, 2023 was vacated following the indictment. Court thanked counsel, media, and the public. Defendant to be reprimanded in the custody of the Latah County Sheriff pending further court appearance. Hearing ended at 9:23. That jail looks like it's a hole. Like, y'all, like, it's so old. I mean, ugh. Couldn't even imagine. Good thing I'm not where he's at. Okay. This is the next document here. This one's just custody order, just showing that says the above named defendant appeared in the district court this date, and the sheriff of Latah County is hereby notified of the following custody status. It says defendant shall remain in custody. Next court date, June 9th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. for a motion hearing. Yeah, that's the only thing on there. This is the court minutes for the Bryan Kohberger versus trying to think, like Shannon Gray, the Gonzalez's case. And it also looks like a few different attorneys are on there. 6? Geesh. And then it just goes through their like time again, like, you know, the time period. I won't go through all that with you guys again, but like the court minutes. We did do a live over that though, if you guys missed it. We did the his first trial, or his first court hearing was, you know, where he stood up, or he didn't stand, he didn't make a plea. And then we sat on the live for like an hour, and I was like, what is going on? Where's Bryan Enton? So we got off of the live, and then later on that evening is when they released the rest of the videos. So then I came back on and did a live. So if you guys are missed any of the court proceedings, they're out there for you guys to see. Let me grab my drink really quick, and then I'll flip this page. This is just his court dates, which I should print these out, but I don't want to print it on the, I have like hard paper in there right now. But this is the jury trial, and it says, wow, 10/2/2023, and it says till 11/12/2023. Wow, very, very short. It'll be like the day leading into the homicides too. Hi, Graham Curious. Oh, I love your little gavel. Hey, Legendary. What you doing over there? Being good? Because I haven't had my head in the chat. Because I kept looking at the documents. So that's just this, nothing important really. I don't want to miss anything though. I have a question actually. Let me see. This is going to be the notice of hearing for Mr. Gray, Shannon Gray. And it is on June 9th, 2023 at 10:30 a.m. And I'm assuming, but I don't know, if there will be people like recording these or not. Like, I'm not sure. I'm assuming there will be. Even though they're just like smaller cases, I don't know if it doesn't look like it's being, like it looks like it's being held like Zoom or anything. It doesn't say it on here. I was just trying to read it. It says in courtroom number 3, so. Oh no, Rich. Oh. Man, I don't feel like there's like not a lot of people that play the saxophone. It's a good instrument too. It's a beautiful instrument to listen to. And hi, Lisha. Okay, she's here. She's listening. Okay. Everybody's here. We're all good. We're almost through the paperwork part. Okay. I don't know why I can't think of this, like, not this one, but the next one. This is just a motion to compel. This is going to be on June 27th. And these dates could all be, these aren't set in stone. They could be continued. They could be, you know, pushed around, moved around, shoved around. Just like the other day when they went to court, you know, he had a 9 a.m. motion, 10 and 11. I don't know why I don't know why I didn't. I thought that everyone knew, but and I should have been more vocal. But I knew that they would be like back to back, because they're not going to take like a 45-minute break, you know, in between each session, they might as well just knock them all three out and then get them back to the jail. But they just took forever. And they are they're very weird in Idaho. Very, very strange. And this is, like motion to compel, like I said. Okay. Now, this one. It says, Mr. Carr owns. Okay. Can you see it right here where it says hearing type? Try to highlight it. Can someone tell me who that is and why I'm not thinking, like I can't think of who that is? Does anyone know who Mr. Carhone is? Am I just not thinking? Because it could be, my brain could be shutting down today. Nope, nothing at all, Sarah. I actually just checked the other day. Tina is gone, Rich. I forgot about that. Tina Turner passed today. I think she was living in Sweden. Yeah. Man, that woman could dance. Legs for days. Beautiful legs. I remember my mom, that was a big thing, because that's just, vanity was, I guess, a thing back in the 90s. Big thing, it still is, but But everyone thought she had beautiful legs because of her, being older. But shoot, I hope she lived the best life. Oh, the attorney for media. Thank you, Jan. Okay, because I thought I heard of the name, but I was like, I don't know. And I was thinking maybe I fell asleep somewhere along the line because that could have happened, Oh, uh-oh. My thing's messing up again. Wonder, hey, Summer, was it your app that you had to, redo, or was it your iPad or a MacBook, like an Apple product? I'll turn mine off. Turn it back on. This thing probably hasn't been off since we've owned it. Because my chat was stopped, so I didn't know if you guys... I was trying to show one of Crime Curious's things, because it's just hearts. It's so weird that the ones that they hold for review, they're never bad, really. It's really, that's what you're holding for review? Nope, I'm going to here in a minute, Arlene. I'm working my way that way. You came in perfect timing. So we know who Mr. Carhone is now. So this is the guy. Okay, so this is the guy for the media. Makes sense. They're going to be seen 6/9, June 9th, 1:30 p.m. Just seeing what today's date was. Do you see her? Do you see the crime hearts and stuff? Okay. Because on mine, it was show or hide the comment. And when I hit show, it said another moderator covered it. Isn't that weird? Okay, well, we're good now. Oh no. This iPad's never used for anything but YouTube. That's the crazy thing. So we have two more. So the next one is order setting, briefing schedule, and scheduling oral argument. And these ones are a little bit longer, so I'm going to turn my camera off just because I'm going to read. But let me try to close out some of this stuff. Okay, so it's order setting, briefing schedule, and scheduling oral argument. State of Idaho versus Bryan, Christopher Kohberger. Based on the scheduling conference conducted on May 22nd, 2023, the following briefing deadlines to address the Associated Press motion to intervene and motion to vacate the amended non-dissemination order and to address the Gonzalez family's motion to amend and or clarify amended non-dissemination order are set. It says 1, supplemental opening briefs and material shall be filed and served no later than June 2nd, 2023. The AP is welcome to also submit an opening brief on cameras in the courtroom. Ooh. Response briefs by the state and the defendant including addressing the issue of cameras in the courtroom, shall be filed and served no later than June 6, 2023. Reply briefs, if any, shall be filed and served no later than June 8, 2023. Oral argument and any evidentiary presentations are scheduled for June 9, 2023. The court will take up the Gonzalez family motion to amend and or clarify an amended non-dissemination order at 10:30 a.m. The court will then take up the Associated Press motion to vacate and amend non-dissemination order and motion to intervene at 1:30 p.m. Both hearings will be conducted in person in court number 3 of the Latah County Courthouse. Okay, got through that pretty well. This next one is going to be the state's request for discovery disclosure. And this one I was reading through and I was kind of having trouble with it. So maybe we can read it through together. Maybe it'll be better the second time around. I hope they allow cameras too. I didn't realize that they didn't already decide on that because, I mean, I just assumed that they would allow that. That court TV would be in there. The paper, the local paper would be there, you know, for still shots, just like they were for the arraignment. But I guess they're going to decide closer to court, which is fine. I mean, I think they said June, right? So, I mean, that's not too long to have to, you know, wait. It said June 6th. So, well, that should be served and filed. Well, hopefully they'll have an answer pretty quick. I was thinking we'd have an answer that day, but I'm not sure. Yeah, what do you think about Teresa? What do you think about him staying in silent? Because you haven't been here you were here with us. I mean, I think I fell out of my chair. Like, what? I've never seen, I mean, I've never heard of it. I didn't even know the BTK did that. I don't really remember his trial. I remember seeing clips of it from other documentaries that I've watched. So I was never aware that he pled, you know, he stood silent, pled mute, I guess you would call it. I just don't think if I was innocent, I don't know I'm trying to think of what's the defense, you know, of me staying silent. Like, what's going to help me get out of here? Like, why am I staying silent and not saying not guilty? That's what I just don't get about it. Like, I'm just having trouble with that part. Maybe there'll be somebody that'll know something about that. Teresa said they're up to something. I feel like they're up to something too. And it could be it could be something in favor, you know. It says, to the defendant, Bryan Christopher Kohberger and counsel Ann Taylor, please take note that the undersigned, pursuant to Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules, request discovery and inspection of the following information, evidence, and materials. All books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, or copies or portions thereof, which are within the possession, custody, or control of the defendant, and which the defendant intends to introduce in evidence at trial. Okay, so this is the state asking Bryan for these things. All results or reports of physical or mental examinations and of scientific tests or experiments made in connection with this case or copies thereof within the possession or control of the defendant, which the defendant intends to introduce in evidence at trial, or which were prepared by a witness whom the defendant intends to call at the trial when the results or reports relate to testimony of the witness. Okay, I'm going to read that again. All results or reports of physical or mental examinations and of scientific tests or experiments made in connection with this case or copies thereof within the possession or control of the defendant, which the defendant intends to introduce in evidence at trial, or which were prepared by a witness whom the defense intends to call at the trial when the results or reports related to testimony of the witness. Huh. A list of the names and addresses of all witnesses and the defendant intends to call at trial. All written summaries or reports of any testimony that the defendant intends to introduce pursuant to rules 702, 703, or 705 of the Idaho Rules of Evidence at Trial or Hearing. The summaries provided must describe the witness opinions, the facts and data for those opinions, and the witness qualifications. Disclosure of expert opinions regarding mental health shall also comply with the requirements of, and it gives the code. This shall be continuing request pursuant to Idaho Criminal Rule 16. ATF. The undersigned further requests permission to copy and inspect said information, evidence, and materials at the prosecuting attorney's office, Latah County Courthouse, Moscow, Idaho, 83843 within 14 days of service of this request. Further, the state hereby demands of the defendant notice of defense of alibi pursuant to code. Okay. Further, the state hereby demands of the defendant notice of defense of alibi pursuant to Idaho Code 19519 and Idaho Criminal Code 12.1. Yeah, but standing silent and saying not guilty to me, that's two different things in my book. In my book. Like, and I know that's, I don't know. Words speak volumes. I don't know. Actions speak louder than words. I don't know. I'm one of those people that are just like, I'm a vocal person though. I'm extremely vocal. If I would, you know what I mean? I'm just one of those people. I'm so vocal. If there was any way for me to not, if I was not guilty, and especially if I had evidence that I knew that would get me out of jail, I'd be screaming it as soon as they open those courtroom doors open for me. The evidence is here. I'm not guilty. I would. And my lawyer would say, shut up, Tanya. And I'd say, well, I'm sorry. I mean, I don't know. I know, Steve, but I don't know if I could stay quiet. Even if they said, Tanya, you gotta stay quiet or you're not gonna get out of jail. Like, I don't, like, I really am, I'm really having trouble just still thinking I could do it. Like, I'm like, it's bad. And I'm the first to tell people, go get a lawyer and don't say a word. Like, that's me. But since I heard him stand silent, I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it does make sense. I mean, don't say anything at all. Because if you say you're not guilty and then you want to go cop a deal later on in the trial, it's probably not going to look good for you to try to do that. If you don't plead anything, you may have like a better grounds to like legs stand on. I don't know. And I do have the Idaho rules up. I'm going to share this tab with you guys. If you guys want to ever look through this, I'm going to put the membership in the chat, and then I'll put this, oh wait, not that. I'll put this is like long. It's all of like the Idaho rules. And I'll put this in the chat for you guys if you want to check it out. If you have any questions over the, Idaho Supreme Court judicial branch, it's when I tried to pull up like the codes like 702, 703 or whatever, 705 or whatever ones they were, this is what came up for that. So I was like, well, I'll save that for everybody. And so that was all of it, all the paperwork. I'm loving that. Loving that. I do have some stuff for you guys, more Idaho stuff too. I mean, I have more than this, but for tonight. But I have like a big live planned for this weekend. So make sure that you have your bell icon on and all that good stuff. Let me turn my camera back on since we're not reading anymore. Hopefully you guys had a really good, what is it, Wednesday? Wednesday. I knew that. I didn't. I did. I knew it was Wednesday. I just keep thinking it's the day ahead. Hopefully you guys are having a good midweek day. So I was going to show you guys this here. This actually just came out right before the live. And I was like, okay, I'll just put my other stuff to the back. Because I was going to play like a Banfield episode from last night. But, you know, we hear Banfield all the time. But she did wear white. It was not cream. It was white. I was like, that's my girl. She did white. It was crisp white shirt. I said, that is not cream, girl. And her earrings were on point. Yeah, yeah. Only your silence, yeah, cannot be used against you. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, judge just documented that he pleaded not guilty. I think that it would be, well, humorous to me. Anyway, I know why they don't, but I think it would be humorous if the judge was like, okay, I just mark you guilty then. You know, I understand they have to go through the process, and that's why they put not guilty, just in case maybe he's not, you know, all the way right up there and stuff. But, you know, he was able to say that yes and no, and, you know, he was aware. So this is, look at this thing out there they have parked out here. This is what the guy sits in. So the security guy that stands out there, like, you know, that's out of the home, he hangs out in this like 2x2 prison cell for himself. It's like a tin can. Can you imagine? And then there's a porta potty set up on the other side of the property. I don't know why one's on like one side of the parking lot, the porta potty's on the other side of the parking lot. But could you imagine you're in a college town? I would not want to be that officer, that security guy. I wouldn't trust that porta potty to be alone in that porta potty. And look at that little box he's in. Legendary, I'll miss me. Hey, Marina girl. I know. Oh my God, Teresa back in the chat. Had me worried. I was like, if you're just taking a break, it's fine. Just let me know. If you're on a cruise, let me know. That's what I said. I was like, just checking on you. We let you go for a while, just making sure that you were okay. So I'll go ahead and play this here. They do still have like the ladder and everything. I mean, they really closed it up just like it was. So I don't know exactly when they plan on the demolition, but with the court date being in October now, I'm not sure if they're going to hold on to the house or what they're going to do. Maybe they'll let us know in this.
This air-conditioned shack, and you can see the security guard in there all day. There's also a porta potty for them as well, just to make sure that nobody trespasses on this property, nothing happens to it. I also want to show you, Julia, the growing memorial. You know, this has been here from day one after this happened, but there are some new items. Dealing with graduation, these are students. Santa, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee were to graduate, and they received their degrees post-mortem, and this was, there's a graduation bear there. This was something that was a big deal, especially for the victims' families. The Gonsalves family posted on their Facebook page that all four of the siblings walked for Kaylee during the graduation a couple of Saturdays ago. And so the university has not released what they're going to do with this particular property once the house is demolished, but it is a big deal considering it will be before that scheduled trial, October the 2nd of this year. And that's not all the university is going to do to memorialize the students here. They're announcing a healing garden in memorial that will be on campus at some point. I did ask about that today with the university. They say it's in the ideation phase. It will be a class project this fall that memorial garden will be in place. And it's just a part of a healing step, they said, that is part of removing this physical structure where the crime shook the community and to memorialize what happened here. So while the quiet campus is back to normal, seemingly here, Julia, still a lot going on to remember the victims of the murder.
And those are such important things to notate and remember what's going on there in this very little college town. I know you've been speaking to people for months, and this has just been so hard for them. You can only commiserate with them in the fact that they have to deal with this while they're also dealing with their classes and with exams and with graduation and everything that's going on right now. But I do want to ask you more about the case, because we know there's a lot of things that are happening coming up very soon in June, but you flagged recently for us some new filings in the case.
Yeah, that's right, Julio. So since the hearings that took place yesterday at the courthouse, just about 10 minutes from where I am here at the crime scene off campus in Moscow, the defense has filed several motions. So here's a look at some of those new documents. They filed a motion, of course, to release the grand jury materials. Bryan Kohberger was indicted last week, of course, on 4 counts of murder and burglary. So they want to release those materials under protective order so they can study them. The defense was not, of course, invited to a grand jury proceedings. They also want to enlarge the time to file pretrial motions. He has not yet waived the right to speedy trial, so there's certain time frames under the law. They want to extend that. They also asked the judge to make available the record of the grand jury proceedings so they can see who testified and the content of the testimony. And the judge already issued an order as far as enlarging that time frame for pretrial motions. Usually in Idaho law under Rule 12, they must file motions within 28 days of a formal arraignment, which took place yesterday. But the judge did extend that in an order, allowing them 30 days after they receive all the grand jury material. So a lot more to come, as you know, Julia, in this case by way of court filings back and forth between defense and the prosecution. So we will keep track of all of that. There's also some, I just checked right before being on with you, there's also some new notices of hearings being posted. So every day something new happening.
Yeah, that's an important note that they are going to get that time after they get the grand jury materials, because with this trial date coming up so quickly, you want the defense to have everything that they need so that they can give him the kind of defense that won't be overturned on appeal. I also want to ask you about the victim's family, because I understand that Kaylee Gonzalez's father did an interview, and this happened right after that arraignment that you were present for.
Yeah, that's right. He did speak out on his thoughts concerning the arraignment, how that transpired, seeing Bryan Kohberger again in person inside that courtroom. Julia, he had his eyes locked on the man accused of murdering his daughter and her friends. Glaring at him, he would express disdain, shaking his head, nodding, sadness, comforting his family around him. And he did speak out, talking about, what happened, but also his thoughts on the defendant. Let's watch.
Rage is definitely probably the primary emotion that you have. And then I remind myself that I need to, actually understand what's going on and memorize everything that's being said, take notes. So you want to be strategic as well, because, justice doesn't fall out of the sky. You sometimes you got to earn it. You got to do everything. We're just parents, and we've been thrown in this. And, we just listen and we work together and we send out our emails and, did you hear this update? Did you hear that update? So we're getting more organized, and I think we'll have a full front, showing up in that courtroom. We moved here and people move here for the safety that we have. And we have to make sure that the world knows that you can't come to Idaho. You can't hunt our children down, and you can't kill them in their beds and just be given, a room to stay. And then, this guy's a smart man. He's going to try to exercise his influence and write papers for other criminals. And he'd have a presence, and he'd still be able to act as a bad character. And that's not what we want. We're looking for somebody to, pay the price of what he did. It's not one person. It's four individuals. We're doing everything that they could possibly do to better their lives. And they just went to bed one night, and some monster snuck into their home and killed them.
Some powerful words from the father. He's been outspoken from the beginning, as you know, Julia, representing not only his daughter Kaylee Gonzalez, but also Madison Mogen, who was best friends with Kaylee growing up most of their lives. And as I told you yesterday, that newborn baby of Kaylee's older sister, Olivia, inside the gallery in the courtroom, making a statement on behalf of the family, her middle name, Maddie K, after Madison and Kaylee. So a moment. And of course, the Gonzalez family says they will be at every hearing, every step of the way.
I have no doubt about that we will see them, that they will be there making sure people remember not only Kaylee and Maddie, but all of the victims in this case. But we've been talking about what's coming up, but really, what's the very next thing we are going to need to pay attention to in this case?
Yeah, we are expecting Bryan Kohberger to return to the courtroom sooner than later. June 9th is a big motions hearing day concerning the gag order that the magistrate judge put in place months ago. It's an expansive gag order, even covering the attorney for the Gonsalves family. They've been challenging it and wanting it clarified because they want to speak out the family and through their attorney. And so that is going to be addressed, as well as the media coalition's motion to have it completely vacated. They say it violates First Amendment free speech rights, but it was interesting how the judge mentioned yesterday that also the defendant has Sixth Amendment rights, as we know, Julie. So he's going to have to balance that in making a decision. We expect Kohberger to be there. And also June 27th is a motion hearing for outstanding motions from defense. They have a motion to compel discovery. The prosecution has responded, and they would likely take up more motions that are filed between now and then, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. And then we also are on the lookout in this file because the prosecution has 60 days from yesterday to file notice of whether or not they will seek the death penalty against Bryan Kohberger. He faces 4 counts of first-degree premeditated murder that qualifies for the death penalty here. It is something that is expected prosecutors to do. And of course, when that happens, that would change the course and direction of this trial altogether, as you know.
What do you guys think is going to happen? And like, I know it's the beginning stages, but what do you guys think? I forgot I was thinking about this last night and I completely forgot to write it down, and I'm really surprised I remembered it. So, now I forgot what to say. Shoot. Oh, okay. So let's say Bryan is going to trial, you know. They have him charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder. Could his defense somehow be, and I don't know, I'm not a defense attorney, but could it be that if he, say he gets into a corner and he's like, I'm screwed, I'm screwed, I need to do something. Could he plead guilty to 1 count of first degree murder for let's say he was going after Maddie that night. So first degree intentional for Maddie, but Kaylee was an afterthought, Xana was an afterthought, and Ethan was an afterthought. Would they be able to they wouldn't be able to charge him with first degree murder because that's premeditated. They would have to charge him with second degree on those 3 counts, right? And wouldn't that take the death penalty off the table for those 3 counts? I was just thinking out loud last night. I was like, I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a defense attorney. I mean, but even if they request a mental health evaluation, he's too in depth. He's too sharp. Yeah, I might try to self-defense. So this is what I don't know. I see this happening, and this is just my little brain, and this is my little brain working, because I've never worked a case where it's been a death penalty before. So maybe that's me being from a small town and small-minded. But for some reason, I feel like maybe he is going to end up pleading guilty to 1 count of first degree, and then maybe 3 counts of second degree, and then no death penalty, and he'll plead guilty to life in prison. That's, in my brain, is where I see it. But, I mean, Mr. Gonsalves wants the death penalty, you know, how he feels about it. But just in my head, I always feel like we, see these death penalty, the ones I've heard about, I've never covered any. It seems like I've never seen one where it's really been, sentenced to death. Usually it's just, a bunch of life sentences, but that could be me being small-minded, too. So, I'm wondering, because, I don't know. All to delay, yeah. Mental health evaluations to delay them. You think that he'll plea bargain and get a life in prison to avoid the death penalty, too, Jax? It does, baby. Yeah, it only takes a second to premeditate. It really does. But I'm wondering if they are going to be I mean, he took the weapon there. He planned to go there. I can see them throwing all these things at him, you know, this is premeditated. But I was just thinking, I was like, could they do that? I don't know. Yeah, this is wow. And there's more too. I mean, they just keep coming with stuff. So Kohberger's parents, let me share this with you here. Look at this picture of him. He's so, I don't care if he's guilty or not guilty. He just gives off the hooded eyes. He has those hooded eyes and it just gives off a creepy vibe. But Bryan's parents have been subpoenaed to testify before Monroe County, Pennsylvania. And it's, Bryan's father is expected to testify before the impaneled grand jury in a sealed proceeding in Pennsylvania Thursday, tomorrow. It says, according to a source, this is from CNN, and it says the mother previously testified before the secretive panel. And I have a video to show you guys also. This came out right as I was getting that one to read you guys. This video came out. I was like, man, guess luck was on my side today. You don't have to listen to me read a bunch of stuff. But I'm wondering, I heard from this that they're looking at another case of a girl that's gone missing from his town. Now that's like pretty close. I mean, like that's something you should look into. I mean, like, you know, you got people running down to like Florida saying there's people down, you know, there that could be related. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right. He's from Pennsylvania. But his own backyard, now that sounds like it could be it. Hello, Mindy. Oh, look at us. We're a nice group. Look at all those highs in there. We're a nice group of people. And I got Melissa Vargas at a really bad moment. She's not going to like that.
Have breaking news tonight on a pair of legal fronts. We're learning that the parents of accused killer of 4 Idaho students have been called to testify before a Pennsylvania grand jury. Their son, Bryan Kohberger, is charged in the gruesome stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students last November. He was arrested at his parents' Pennsylvania home nearly 2 months later. Kohberger's parents are reportedly being questioned about another case of a missing woman in Pennsylvania. Joining us with more now on the legal issues at stake is News Nation's senior national correspondent Bryan Enton and News Nation legal contributor Jesse Weber. Bryan, why are the police looking to talk to the parents about a case in Pennsylvania?
Someone tell Jesse to get out of the lighting or the makeup, or what is going on with Jesse? Why does he look like he looks like he's got like liver problems or something. He is yellow. He is like a yellow. Is it just me? Or is it his makeup people? Jaundice. I could not think of it. Thank you, TF. I could not think of the word to kill. I was like trying to save my life. I could not save my life thinking of it. I was like, jaundice. Because I was thinking of something else, but it wasn't jaundice. But I'm just like, for the love of God, I know he don't look like that. It's something. They need to turn his lights on like neon LED or something. But good golly, Miss Jolly. I just had to point that out. Because like Bryan and like her, they look a lot alike. I mean, not like a lot alike, but their skin color does. And then you got Jesse over here and it's like, he needs to fire the makeup crew. You're handsome without the makeup. You don't need it. A little powder, that's fine. You don't need to do the contouring or whatever you're doing. But yeah, he's just doing too much or something.
Yeah, this is an interesting development. We have confirmed that Bryan Kohberger's parents were called to testify in front of this investigative grand jury that has to do with this missing persons case. 45-year-old Dana Smithers, she went missing in June of 2022. Her body was just discovered about a month ago. We're told this is just an investigative grand jury, so it's not like they're trying to indict one specific person, but still, it's very, very interesting that they would subpoena and call in Bryan Kohberger's parents to come in and testify.
Jesse, what do you make of this?
So they're trying to determine if a crime was committed. I think that it should be important to note that Ms. Smithers disappeared in the same county where the parents lived. So one possibility could be, is it about Bryan Kohberger committing a crime only a few months before he's accused of committing quadruple homicide? Or could it be that these are just residents of that community and they have just some ancillary information regarding the disappearance of Ms. Smithers? That could very well be a possibility. And the Kohberger front, I do think it's interesting considering one of the big factors we've always wondered is if Bryan Kohberger really did this to those 4 college students in Idaho, was this his first time?
Right.
It's such a brutal crime, and sometimes these killers actually do something before and it's found out later.
Well, it's not just such a brutal crime. It was incredibly bold. I mean, there were 4 victims. There's not just one victim. He allegedly murdered them in a way that was very up close and personal and very risky. There were witnesses in the house at the time, right, Bryan?
Yeah, absolutely. And important for me to point out, too, we also have a source close to the case in Pennsylvania who tells us that Bryan Kohberger has a very solid alibi in that case. What the alibi is, we don't know. Is it possible that somehow his parents are part of that alibi, and that's why they wanted to call them in to get them on the record? Remember, I mean, you know, they don't have to talk to the police, but one way that they can require them to come in and talk is with a grand jury subpoena. But I found it very interesting that we were able to confirm that there is an alibi here, apparently, with Bryan Kohberger.
And very quickly, do we know if the parents, Kohberger's parents, have been cooperative with in law enforcement, you know, both in Idaho and in Pennsylvania up to now?
It appears they've been cooperative. I mean, we know that they are testifying. I mean, they're not, you know, fighting the subpoena from what we've been told. So they will go and testify to the grand jury. I mean, I'm not sure that they wanted to do that or that they would have just voluntarily done it with like a police detective, but they are going to cooperate with these grand jury subpoenas.
How unusual is this, Jesse?
Well, the idea that you have a suspect who's being implicated in another crime, we've seen that happen before. Again, we just don't know his connection to this case.
Right.
But the parents, in a case in a day where the parents of accused killers have really taken center stage, they're sometimes the people that have the most information. These killers sometimes, or these suspects, have relayed information to their parents, and they are the ones that you need to speak to.
All right, Jesse Weber, Bryan Enton, I'm sure we'll be hearing more about this case in the days ahead. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for watching.
Okay, so yeah, that's the latest. So apparently his parents have to, I mean, they're being indicted to speak. I'm really wondering, I'm really wondering if his parents knew, if he did do this, if his parents knew what he was up to all along, and that's why they're being, you know, subpoenaed. I don't know. It's very, very strange. Why do these cases have to be weird like this? Like, we can't just wait for Kohberger to have his day in court. All of a sudden now we gotta throw his parents in the mix. Because this whole time we was like, oh, he just went to visit mom and dad at home. We all assumed that his dad looked a little weird and stuff, but you know, people can look weird, but they're not, that doesn't mean they're weird. So it's like, well, what do they know? What kind of information do you have in your noggin? Maybe nothing at all. Yeah. If this is another case like the laundries, oh my Lord, have mercy. I'm quitting YouTube. I'm just kidding. I threaten that sometimes. I can't do another Gabby Petito. I didn't even do that case online. And that's something, yeah, something is strange, Teresa. There's something very odd. I want to know what his angle is. Because I'm curious. Because I like to know what people are thinking. And he is hard to read. The dude is hard to read. Other than when he's not saying anything. If he would have stood up and he would have said not guilty, I don't know how I would have felt about it. Because his answers were so like clear and, you know, coherent. But it's like, I can't get my head, I mean, I know it's, other creators are probably saying like, you know, he said something, that's a good thing. Like, and it probably is, but in my little head, it's like, it speaks volumes to me. I don't know. I've never seen it, so maybe that's where it's hard. Which you think his family suspected due to his bizarre behavior. So that's what I said in the chat before too. And I wish I could stream an episode of it. It's on ID channel. It comes on like Sundays. I haven't seen it in forever, but it comes on Sunday nights. It's called Evil Lives Here. Have you guys seen that show? It's literally about like serial killers or like psychopaths, whatever they become, like, you know, budding, like growing up. It's like their sisters, brothers, family members come out, mom and dad come out, and they talk about them growing up with them and them seeing the signs, but not knowing what to do about the person. and like them like abusing animals or whatever it takes for them to like finally grow up to be this like, person that they become. And so maybe his parents are like, there's an episode where the guy ends up going in like shooting people in like a coffee shop or something. And the parents on the episode are so heartbroken, and you could tell they tried everything. They wanted their kid to be good. They really wanted, like, they had him arrested, like they did everything. But he ended up doing that, and like you feel for the families, you do, because you're like, well, shit, you had to put up with all that, because a lot of times it's like they don't know what to do. But if you have a kid that's having crazy tendencies or psychopathic tendencies, you get them into therapy ASAP. A lot of parents, I think, and I don't know, I'm just saying this, that's my opinion, because I don't have kids, but I think a lot of parents try to like say, like skim over, like all they'll grow out of, it's just like a little phase, they'll grow out of that. And then they don't, it just gets worse and worse. I wonder if his parents, I wonder too, Witchy. You've seen it, it's a good show? Yeah, it is a good show. It really like shows you how the criminal mind kind of works from the perspective of somebody that's lived with that person. It's, fur babies are kids. They really are. What, did I miss something? Maybe the parents know the victim in some way, maybe. Yeah, he is very hard to read. He has a poker face. Yeah. I wonder if he's been practicing that. Shit. I mean, what do you got to do for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, other than you get to get out and take a shower? Like, the only thing that we see between him and his attorney is like a quick smile, sits down. He does clench his jaw a lot, I feel like, in the courtroom. When we saw him in court, I watched it again, and I'm probably going to watch it a few more times because I keep picking up other things. But I mean, he's really clenching. And I don't know if he's moving his tongue around because it's like he has dry mouth, or if it's like a nervous OCD tick. Because I know when I get nervous, my brother used to make fun of me for this, but I'll like do this with my nose, like a bunny. He used to call me a little bunny, and like I just like, my nose will move a little bit. It doesn't do it as bad anymore, but when I was little, it used to. I don't know why. It was my little nervous little tick I had. Yeah, your cats are your kids. Oh, my cat's my kid. Shit. Where is he? Oh, he ain't in here, but my cat is 14, and he is my everything. So I understand when you talk about animals, babies, fur babies. Plus, remember my fur baby? My fur baby was sick last week. She's feeling better now, thank God. She's like so much better. I was in here today trying to mess with one dog, and she's out there playing with the cat. So I'm just like, oh my Lord, my whole house was just, it was a wreck. It was just funny. How do you get this far without a psych evaluation? So he had a psych evaluation. So he's definitely seen somebody. When he was in that turtle suit, like in the green outfit, like the green, the suicide smock, they make you see somebody before they take you out of that suicide smock. Now, maybe they put him in that because he's a high profile. Now, that's why I think he got put in it, because he's high profile. I don't think he said anything like, I want to kill myself, and that's why they put it in him. I think they just put it in him because he's a high profile, criminal. But in order for him to like come out of that, I would assume that he would have to go see somebody for a psych evaluation, just to say like, are you taking any medications outside of jail that are illegal, legal, those kind of questions. They usually will ask you, so that way if they need to set you up with medication, they can, and then that way they can kind of like check it off their list that they did their due diligence. So they better have, anyway. Yes, and the skinnier he gets, Teresa, you can see his cheekbones more in this one. His jaw just a little bit more, but his cheekbones are more defined. He's got some killer cheekbones, Oh, I shouldn't have said that word. I really didn't mean that. That was like the worst word to use, wasn't it? Huh. Maybe we'll have to keep that if he ends up, being an accused, or if he ends up being the actual killer. There was a fox 6 inches from me earlier on a mission to get somewhere. Oh, I can see Lurch in him too. I keep looking over at him. Oh, thank you for gifting a membership, Summer. That was so nice. Welcome, welcome. So yeah, he's vegan too, and jail food is not good food. Like, he's probably living on peanut butter sandwiches that he gets like once a day, some bread, vegetables. I'm just trying to think of what he could eat there. I don't know. I mean, ugh. But this actually just came on. Let me see. We've been on the live for a little while, but this came up like 16 minutes before I came on the live. 1 hour ago. So pretty quick. I thought we'd watch it together though. Yeah, he has lost muscle tone. I think he just looks smaller to me. Also, if you've seen Banfield's episode last night, I might have to pull the pictures up while we're sitting here, but she was trying to say that he got a new prison uniform for this one. And I'm like, no, Banfield. He got his prison uniform when he first got there because you can see the fold in the front. So I showed Vincent last night. I made him look at pictures side by side of this court appearance and his first court appearance and the lettering of the back of like the prison uniform and everything. I'm like, it's the same one, but this one is older and washed. The first one is the original legit one because it had the fold in the front and on the sleeves. Take it from somebody that owns a boutique, I guess. I was like, she's wrong. I was like, that's not right. No. I don't know why. I don't really know why they put it. I mean, I know why they put a vest on him, just in case someone gets through security with a gun. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's more for like the cameras. Do you think that he has like a strategy right now? I wonder what it is. Gosh, I'm just... Dr. Ramsland, get your pen and paper ready. Get your typewriter out. We got another one. Get in there and start interviewing. Edward. No, he said nothing last time. He's like, what? Okay, so I'm going to play this. It's only 15 minutes long, but I thought we'd watch it together.
Kohberger, do you understand the charge in count 1? Or
Yes.
do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 2, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
If Bryan Kohberger is convicted of quadruple murder, will he be put to death? Capital punishment expert Professor Jules Epstein explains what we can expect. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. So as we continue to analyze and study the case of accused murderer Bryan Kohberger,
Somebody write Jesse. He needs to start doing the podcast from his house. Natural light. That's what he needs. Did you see him? He looked good. It'll show him again. But yeah, he looked nice there. He doesn't need stage lighting that's for sure.
Kohberger, we want to focus on the potentiality of him facing the death penalty. It's a big topping point in this case because after all, he's going to be facing trial for the brutal murders of 4 young people. And in this case, could that result in capital punishment? Because as of right now, prosecutors have a 60-day window to file notice if they are in fact pursuing the death penalty. So who better to talk about this than a very special guest? I'm joined right now by Professor Jules Epstein. Professor Epstein is the Edward D. Allbaum Professor of Law and Director of Advocacy Programs at Temple University Beasley School of Law. He has taught death penalty law nationally to judges and attorneys, and he continues to handle capital cases at the appellate and post-conviction stages. From all of us here at Sidebar, Professor, it is an honor to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So I want to get right into it. The prosecutors have this 60-day window. What considerations do you think that they're weighing right now on whether or not to pursue the death penalty?
So there are 3. One is a purely legal one. Not every murder case is death penalty eligible. So Idaho, where this case will be tried, has a list of what are called aggravating factors. Not just did I kill someone, but did I kill someone and was during a robbery? Or did I kill someone and that person was a police officer? Or did I kill someone and I have killed before? So just purely legally, prosecutors go through this to say, do we have an aggravating factor? The second thing, I hate to say it, is what I'm going to call political. Okay. How will it play in the community if we do? How will it play in the community if we don't? Prosecutors can be elected officials. They have to worry about that. I'm not suggesting that's a proper consideration, but if you're talking about realistically, is it a consideration? You bet. Then there's a third consideration, and that's positioning yourself for advantage. If this case is tried as a death penalty case, the only people who could be on the jury are people who believe in the death penalty. If you're against the death penalty, you're automatically excluded. And studies have shown, and it makes some sense, that if you're pro-death penalty, you're more likely, sort of pro-law enforcement, more likely to vote guilty. So on the front end, the guilty or not guilty stage, the prosecutor gets an advantage by calling the case a death penalty case because of the smaller pool of jurors. So those to me are the, okay, I should add, there's one other possible.
I'll allow one more. I'll allow one more.
Right.
I'm just kidding.
And that is, are we doing more harm than good? Okay, what do I mean? If this case is not capital, in other words, not a death penalty case, it can go to trial a lot sooner. The likelihood of it getting overturned on appeal is much lower. Once you put death into the mix, it takes a longer time to prepare the case, a longer time to try the case, and there are more appeals. And at least some prosecutors are aware of that's not always the healthiest thing for the victims' families, because death penalty cases can go on and on and on. Whether they're thinking that, I don't know, but that's certainly a reasonable thing for them to think.
Let's explore that a little bit, because when I entered into this, I was thinking, okay, you have the brutal slayings of 4 young people. It is a highly publicized case. This is a case that shocked the community. And you would think that it fits all of the criteria of a death penalty case. And I'll agree with you. Politics comes into it. If this was a case that maybe didn't have this kind of attention, maybe we wouldn't see it, because there are stabbings and there's shootings all the time. So part of me thought this is a no-brainer. They're definitely going to go to the death penalty route. You've given me pause now to think that if this delays that, because this is very hard on the families. People want justice. The October date that they have set for the trial, if prosecutors come back and say, okay, we actually want to pursue the death penalty, how far out, to the best that you can, surmise, how far out could this push the trial then?
So the answer depends on the quality of the defense team, the resources they're given, and how much the judge will tolerate. Because to handle a death penalty case, you're really handling 2 cases at once. Is he guilty? Does he deserve death? And the second question is 100 times more complicated than the first. You have to go back 3 generations and trace his family back. Was there a mental problem? Is there an alcohol problem? Is there some problem in their lives? You want to talk to every school teacher. You want to learn every single thing about this person, because the decision for the jury is not how terrible the crime was. That's a given. The question is, given how terrible the crime was, does this person need to be killed, or is there some other punishment, obviously life in prison, multiple life sentences, that would meet all our needs?
That's a great point you raised, because that's the defense's argument that would potentially come up if this is death penalty. We don't know that much about Kohberger's life in terms of, any kind of mental health issues or how he behaved. I mean, it seems to me we're all wondering, if he is convicted, what a jury would do. I know you have your hands tied because you don't know all that mitigating evidence that the defense could bring. But based on what you're seeing so far in the early reports of Kohberger and what he's accused of doing, do you think that there's a strong likelihood if you were able to impanel a death qualified jury, jury members who, as you said, say we can vote in favor of the death penalty if the facts and the law lead us there? Do you think that there's a strong likelihood he could be executed?
Anytime there is a death, and here there are multiple deaths, there is some likelihood that someone will be executed. At the same time, we have seen over the last decade that in terribly, terribly, terribly serious cases, and I don't want to make it sound like no murder is serious, all murders are serious, but when there's murder upon murder, that sometimes jurors have responded, this is a terribly damaged person. This is a person who snapped. This is a person who acts. I said, we don't need it. So I hate to do this to you. I'm going to disappoint you. I'm not going to say, oh, the odds are 40% or 72%.
I gotcha.
Can't do that. It is a case, the more loss of life, the greater the risk. That's a simple equation. But that's the beginning of the calculus, not the end.
That's totally fair. One of the things that I've been wondering is, I'm sure you saw Bryan Kohberger stood silent during his arraignment. He chose not to enter a guilty plea. He had the court do it on his behalf. He has hired, or he has retained death penalty qualified attorneys. So he's preparing for the prosecution, ultimately saying we want to pursue the death penalty. A part of me thinks that maybe he did that and stood silent because he's open to negotiations. And I'm curious how open the prosecution would be and say, listen, if he pleads guilty, we will take the death penalty off the table. It saves everyone the time, the heartache, the expense of a trial. Do you think that might be what's happening behind the scenes? And maybe it was one of the reasons why he stood silent.
So I'm not going to guess why, because there are many reasons a person would stay silent. Some people are numb at that stage. It's really scary to be in that position. Some people, the lawyers have said, you're better off saying nothing. And sometimes it's exactly what you're saying. As to would a prosecutor weigh that, we're back to that political question. There have been capital cases around the country where early on the defense says, we'll end this. We'll end this. We know our client is getting life. Our client will never be paroled. We're willing to end it. And some prosecutors say, great. Some prosecutors take some time and then come around to great. And some say, we're not interested. And we're back to that community and community values and community pressures. The other thing is to make those discussions meaningful. It may, in a weird way, be too premature. So here's what I mean. On the one hand, end it soon, much less pain, let the families get on with healing. On the other hand, to make a convincing case of why you prosecutors should not seek the death penalty. Sometimes you need all that background information to then say, let me show you all my cards. Let me tell you the life history. Let me tell you what a jury is going to hear. And then a prosecutor might say, you know what? That is bona fide mitigation. Right? I don't know. I'm not going to comment about this defendant, this accused, but let's suppose his IQ is on the margin. I don't think that's the case here. My memory was he was in college, but some people can fake it till they make it. But let's
grad student. Yeah.
Right. But if that were an issue, a prosecutor might say, that's important to me. I don't know. There's also a culture from community to community. So in certain communities, you know, as a lawyer, This prosecutor wants to hear from me early. No, this prosecutor doesn't want to hear from me until I have a substantial background showing that I can make.
That's a good point. I think Idaho, and I wanted to ask you about this too, is very unique. Idaho isn't unique because it's been making news in terms of the death penalty. It seems that they are ready to reinstitute the firing squad. And one of the things that has come up is, did they decide to put the firing squad as a method of execution back on the table because of Kohberger? And if Kohberger is ultimately convicted and sentenced to death, would he die by firing squad? I wanted to get your opinion on the firing squad as a method of execution and possible method of execution of Bryan Kohberger.
So over the last decade, there have been challenges around the country to different modes of execution, whether it's electrocution, whether it's certain combinations of drugs or medications. Do they really, this sounds like a contradiction in terms, but do they kill the person as humanely as possible? Okay. And so there's been a ton of litigation. I suspect the firing squad issue was because of that kind of litigation. And sometimes it's hard to get the drugs. It's not hard. I hate to say it, it's not hard to get bullets. You know, if he were convicted and if he were sentenced to death, and if after all the years and years, if not decades of appeals, the death sentence were to be carried out, by that point, they might be done with the firing squad. That may be their only one. If it's the law of that state, then that's what they would use.
Well, like you said, we will wait and see. And if he's convicted and if he's sentenced to death, it'll be quite some time before he is ultimately executed. Professor Jules Epstein, I really enjoyed this conversation with you. Incredibly informative. And there's a reason you are a leading expert on this subject matter. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
And thanks for.
Well, I'm always going to get someone in a bad light. I guess it was the older guy. Oh man, my prosthetic is like really dry or something tonight. I've been scratching at my eye. Turn my camera back on for a minute, and then if I start like bothering my eye again, I'll turn it back off. Yeah, that's what I heard too, Ashley. Yeah, the FDA doesn't want to produce the drugs for the lethal injection. Like they don't want to make them because of the death penalty, I've heard. That's just what I've heard, so. It's just... Wonder what would be faster, firing squad or lethal. Firing squad would be. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about the death penalty. I mean, I'm not for it and I'm not against it. If you do the crime, I mean, that's the law in that state. Then yeah, you should get the death penalty. And if you live in Texas, you should just not do anything bad. Or Florida. Just those two states just don't even get a speeding ticket. They'll put you on death row. Just don't even get in trouble there. They like doing that. I'm just kidding. They don't really like it, but you know, they will. Yeah, I think the fentanyl that's killing people is fentanyl that's not really coming manufactured from like a doctor fentanyl. It's fentanyl that's being produced in mass quantities from like distribution places, like, you know what I mean, and they're being sent here. That's what I believe. It's not even real fentanyl. So whatever it is, it's not even real fentanyl. I don't believe. I think that's just the name that they're given for it because it's mass, like illicit fent. Yeah, fent. Yeah, I couldn't think of the word for it, but yeah. That's the word. And we see it a lot on TV where they'll have like busts and they'll like, I mean, bags of pills, like the biggest Ziploc baggie, a freezer baggie you can find. I'm like, whoa. You know? And it's just one bust. And it's like, that person was just like cruising around with that in their car. Isn't that crazy? Super labs in China. Oh, man. I know that, ooh. I just know that I know it's bad. Ugh. Gives me the GBs thinking about it. I was on fentanyl for after my car accident, the patch. That shit didn't work for me, but more power to whoever thinks it works for them. I was like, this does not work. I don't know. Maybe it's because it wasn't a pill form, and maybe it was more up here, and maybe but I take Advil, and that works just as good. And I don't think that and I don't know, this is my personal thing. I don't think that Bryan Kohberger was on drugs at the time of the killings at all. I don't think he has been, since he probably quit them back whenever. If you're addicted to heroin, you're not going to look that cool, calm, and collected. Like, even in his first appearance, when they even walked him from his parents' home, with the helmet on his little head, you could still tell he was cool as a cucumber walking from the plane to the other plane. So, I don't think that he's on any. That's just me. I mean, maybe he is, but heroin withdrawals is like, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be clammy, you're going to be fidgeting, you're going to be freaking out on people. I feel like we would have heard something from the jailers by now, like him screaming out, you're withdrawing from something, and you're in jail. You're going to be making some noises or doing something. I couldn't imagine. You too, Ashley, didn't work. Yeah, it didn't work for me either. The fentanyl didn't work. I was like, and I guess that's thank you, Lord, for that. Because, I mean, it is very easy to get addicted to stuff like that. Yeah, I think he was clean of opioids too for a while. Yeah, he cool as a pickled onion. He really was. I mean, he's pretty cool. I'm not like, I don't know. I'm not that cool. Even if I wasn't saying it. I mean, we can see him like clenching his jaw and stuff. So maybe those are his subtle clues that he doesn't know that he's actually doing. But me, I would be a mess. Even if it was just like, even if it wasn't even like murder, like if I just had that much attention on me for like a speeding ticket, I would be a mess. Like, I didn't do it. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. I'm going to have to read up on the silent, like standing silent. I want to read up more about it. I want to know more about it. Because I've never really, I mean, I just heard about the BTK case, but I wasn't, involved in true crime in 2007. And I don't remember the trial really. And you know why? That was the year before my dad passed away. So that's probably why I don't remember it. I don't remember stuff around that. Those, how like there's like a couple years if you have like something traumatic, sometimes you don't remember things. That's probably why I don't remember it, because it was the year before. Yeah, they had me on Dilaudid when I was in the hospital, Teresa. They had me on the pump. I was on the good stuff. My car accident was horrendous. They were like, here, ma'am, just take this pump and you can press it every like 10 minutes. And I'm like, okay. But you do build a tolerance quick to it, like really quick. Like, I mean, I don't know if it was just me. I was like passing out for a minute and I'd wake up and then I'd want to like click it again. And my mom's like, it's not time, And I'm like, it's not time yet. But I was in a lot of pain. Oh, man. Yeah, you can get a tolerance and be a functioning user. You are right. But as soon as you come off of that, you're going to be withdrawing. It's not even as soon as you come off of it. You can have like the bottle of fentanyl in your hand. And let's say someone says, that's your last bottle. You're probably going to go into withdrawals right then. Just knowing that that's your last. I've had a lot of friends and known a lot of people addicted to opioids and everything. I've seen a lot of people addicted to a lot of stuff, and it is bad news. You've had that too, Summer? It's some good shit. It is. Tell you the truth, that between that and, you know, I didn't have to get up to go to the bathroom because, you know, doctors do things. I was living good for the first couple of weeks. My mom was like, we got to get you out of this. Then they had to get off of the Dilaudid. So coming off of it's not fun. I was like, well, that's not fun. But then they put me on something else for, you know, therapy. And then I walked. And then after I learned how to walk again, I'm down to Advil. Let me see. Where's Vincent? Oh. Okay. Oh, look at that. Okay. He's just now heading back. He went to Columbus. That's why I was a few minutes late. So I was. Did you hear that? Dilaudid, it's like a pain medication. It's like the best pain medication. They gave it to me like straight through like the pump. So I think it was like intravenous. I'm assuming. I don't remember a lot of that time. I just know I was like really blown up, I guess. And I didn't look at myself for like 2 weeks. So I don't know. My friends told me that I looked terrible. So all that stuff made you sick. Yeah, my mom was like that. My mom couldn't take pain medication. It would make her sick, but he's probably lurking in here. No, he said he was heading back at 9:46. So I've got like a little while. So guess I'll hang with the dogs. I walked out there earlier to grab a drink and they were being really good. And I'm just like, you know, because my dogs are not normally that good. Ashley, I know that people have taken that, and you know what? Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? That would be good for pain management. I could see that. Because it probably turns off those receptors or something in your brain. Or it helps like balance them out. That's probably, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Unless he's vegan but collects leather sheets. Yeah, I don't understand that. Because you can get vegan sheets, I guess. I mean. But do you know everyone that's vegan always wants to tell you, they're always eager to tell you they're vegan. Have you ever met a vegan person? Like a real vegan person? Within the first 5 minutes of you knowing that person, you knew they were vegan, right? I bet you, if you think about it, think back on the people that you know that are vegan. You're going to say, damn, she right. I'm telling you what, every vegan person I know, first 5 minutes of me knowing them. Hey, y'all, my name is Tanya, and I like to hang out with my friends, and I'm vegan. Like, hey, how are you? I'm vegan. Oh, no. But vegans normally, well, vegan is an animal rights, but vegan should be vegan, you would think. I don't know. I'm gonna ask Vincent's brother about that. That's a good question, Kelly D. I'm gonna ask Vincent. He'll never do it. I swear that kid will not do anything I say sometimes. When I ask him to do a question. Okay, let me write this down. Ask Alex. Let me see. If he carries a leather wallet. That'd be the easiest way to figure that out. Vincent's brother is like vegan on a vegan grand scale. Like he's so vegan, he sent us vegan breakfast at the it was a beautiful gesture. But I'm not vegan. Like I'm from the country. Like we eat meat before we eat, like we eat meat and potatoes every meal. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, it's just so weird. But he's vegan. He's strictly like he eats like all this, like it looks like good stuff, but I would not touch it. But he eats all this food. So I'm wondering if he carries like a leather wallet, or if he opts, just like in my mind, or if he opts for like a Velcro type of wallet. I don't know. You know? Oh, Kelly D, I got so much tofu. I say it all the time. If y'all want some tofu, to send me your address. I ain't lying. This stuff's gonna go bad. No one eats tofu in this house but Vincent. We have a cabinet full of it. When I say I have more than the grocery store, I have more than the grocery store. And like that dry pork, I don't know who eats it other than him. We've got like 3 things of it. It's like this big. We don't need that. I should start like a vegan restaurant or something. Vegans don't do real leather. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'm wondering if he like, I'm thinking Vincent's brother doesn't. I don't know. They're kind of nerdy guys. They're adorable, but they're nerdy. I could see him totally just like whipping out that like Velcro, like 80s, 90s wallet, you know, with the Velcro. I could totally see him doing that. Now Vincent's not vegan. He has a leather wallet. Tofu was made to go bad. It was. It was. His mom, oh my God. We're going to have to do an unboxing next time she sends something. But she'll like line the box up with like tofu packets and they're like thick. And the box will be so heavy and I'll be trying to carry it upstairs. I'm like, what does she have in here? It'll be like tofu, rice. It's from a special Japanese like grocery out in LA that his mom goes to, and I hope she never stops sending the boxes because I think that it's the greatest thing. Because my mom used to get boxes sent from her mom, and my mom would spend like 3 hours opening these boxes. Like my grandma would send my mom like the dumbest things too. Like stuff for the house. I can understand as an adult now why my mom loved it so much, you know, but it'd be like just like stuff for the house and like, I don't know. So she sends him food. So in a way, it's kind of like the same thing. You have a Vans wallet? Oh, Velcro button. What do I have? I have a leather wallet. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I have like 3 leather wallets. I'm like really not vegan over here. And oh man, a leather bag. Oh. I'm like looking under the desk. That's where my bags are. And I'm like, oh. Tell her to send me a box. Legendary, I'm about to start sending these boxes out. I could sign them, like autograph them. Autographed tofu. Oh, but I do love biscuits and gravy. I bet you that's a cute picture. I bet that's cute. Dang, Teresa, she said next execution is June 6th in Missouri. Wow. How many wallets have I lost? None. I've never lost a wallet. No, okay, knock on wood. Because I don't lose a lot of things. I'm really good at that. Okay, so I lost my AirPods that one time. And I'll go nuts. So I don't lose things because if I do, I go nuts. I'm one of those people, like if I get something out, I put it back right away. I'm OCD. It's a little ADHD, OCD we're figuring out, and a little bit of being blind all mixed into one. Yeah. It's the blind part is the biggest thing. Ooh, this weekend wants a ribeye. Ooh, that sounds good. Man, I've been craving steak myself. We get like New York strips usually. Ribeyes are good though. I'm a ribeye fan. I don't know why, but I like the New York strip sometimes. But I always, Vincent, he always cooks it, and he always cooks it the best. I'm not good at cooking meat. I need a temperature gauge. That's the only thing I need. I know the right temperatures for me. I just need the gauge part. Because with having one eye, it's like you start to cook and you don't know if you think you see things that aren't there. Like you think the meat is pink, but you know it's done. But it's like it would be just that reassurance if you have like a temperature gauge. So I don't cook. To tell you the truth, I don't cook at all. I don't think I've ever told you guys that. That's one thing about me. I don't cook. Not one meal will you see me ever cook. Corn dogs, legendary. That's my kind of meal. If a 3-year-old will eat it, then I'll eat it. Like chicken nuggets, french fries, that's me all day. I'm a steak person, medium. I'll do medium as long as there's no blood on that steak, like on the plate. Medium well. I like to see the pinkness, but I don't like. Everyone's probably like, what are they talking about at the end of the live? Talking about, with Bryan Kohberger and I were talking about steaks, but we get hungry in the chat. But no, Vincent knows how to cook my food. He just knows, he's perfect at that. So I used to cook. So this is my cooking journey really quick before I jump off here. I'll tell you it quickly. I used to cook for my mom when my mom was alive. And then after my car accident, they told me to stop cooking. They were like, don't even microwave food because I was in a wheelchair. So if I were to like try to get something out of the microwave, I could cause it to fall on me and I could burn myself, causing new injuries to start. And they're like, we don't want you to have any more injuries than you already have, young lady. So my mom just cooked for me. She started cooking for me again. And then when I got well enough, I started cooking for her. And then she passed away. And as soon as she passed away, my love for cooking or for anything like that, it just was zapped. Like zapped. And Vincent cooks everything, Arlene. He will cook. If I want breakfast, if I want lunch, or if I want dinner, he's not here for lunch, but he will cook. If not, he's like, where do you want to eat tonight? I'm so bad. He's like my person. He takes good care of me. Like, he'll never let me go hungry. He's good. I told him for 10,000 or 25,000 subscribers, I said, will you come on and do a live with me, like a live Q&A? So he said for 100,000, that's what he said, 100,000 subscribers. That's what he said. He'll do a live Q&A, so smash that subscribe button because we need to get Vincent on here. He said when I get my play button. And I liked how he said it because he didn't say like if, he said when you get it. He's the cutest, so. He is a good person. You got to have good people in your life. And speaking of that, if he's my person, so. And that's my weakness. I'm putting it out there. Anybody ever messes with him though, that's my mama bear will come out. Oh, I don't know if I could witness that. I don't know if it's Vincent's he's been a good guy. I was telling actually my counselor that today. I was like, because she asked me, she had the nerve to ask me today, which is like, it's not like the nerve, but I hated that she asked me this. She's like, what do you fear? And I was like, I didn't think I had any fears. And I was like, well, losing Vincent, that's my fear. Like my big fear, I could take a lot, but that would be my big fear. But yeah, he's the best. But I'm glad I stayed over and talked with you guys for a little bit. It does. It looks like we've been talking about steaks, drugs, Hannibal's in there. I would better get to cooking, woman. Eddie said, I know. Eddie be like, I couldn't date her. That's probably what Eddie's saying. Every guy in the chat's probably going, I could not date her. I don't know how it started, but that's how it. And my mom and dad used to make fun of me as like when I was 18, 19, they would say, because my mom would still my mom would still cut like the fat off my steaks and stuff. Like, I know, I was babied. And then my mom and dad were like, who's going to do this for you when you get older? Like, you're not going to be able to go on a date, Tanya. Found him. Wifed him up. 7 years now, so I love him. He's my partner. He's my silent partner. Your feet. I am, Arlene. I'm really blessed. That's why I like talking about him so much, because he's just the best. I wish that everybody could experience him, but he's so quiet. I'm going to have to get him on video. I'm going to have to start doing TikToks and just like bullying him around. Aww. Steve, he said, I think he will not ever come on, but I also think that's a bit tragic because I feel like we all love him too. I know, that's what I said to him. I'm going to get him on here. He just needs like a sip of something. Get him drunk. We'll get him on here. Maybe he's listening to us right now. But no, he really is the best. And I want people to know him more. Because I don't get it. My brother knows him. My brother knows he's great. My nieces and nephews know he's great. But you guys are like my family, more than my family. I'm off here for like a couple days and y'all are emailing me. You cool, Tanya? You cool? If I'm off Facebook for months, years, nobody's calling me. They're like, Benson's got her. She's cool. She cool. Oh, I know, Ashley. I can tell by the way that you talk about your boo thing that's the way I feel about Vincent. And the way that Summer talks about Justin. I feel like him and Vincent could be good friends. Very quiet, very reserved, but that's what people like us need, though, you know, Summer. The reserved ones. If I had a boyfriend or a husband that was as hardwired as me and as high strung out as me, oh my Lord have mercy, we'd all be going crazy. But I love you guys. I'm gonna jump off here. I'm gonna go hang out with the dogs for a little bit. My dogs are feeling good. My cat's out there. He's feeling good. He probably wants to go back outside. He thinks he's outdoor cat now. He's not. We have a balcony. He lays on the balcony. That's it. But yeah, he loves it. Every morning he just stands by the door. So, oh, well, next time your grandkids come, Teresa, let me know, and I'm gonna hop a ride with them because I'm close to that Indiana border. Like, I'm real close. Like, I could touch it. I'll just hop in the car, or plane, wherever, luggage, no, you know, extra zipper or something, get me some air in there, but you know. Then I can come to Florida. Well, you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you didn't already like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all that good stuff. And don't forget to leave a comment below. Bye, guys.